Hi everyone. In today's video, we're going to discuss anointing oils. We're going to build on my previous video, and I'm going to show you how you can use anointing oils to anoint and to bless yourself. I'm also going to give you some basic steps on how you can create your own anointing oil. So anointing oils, as I mentioned in my first video, have been used for thousands of years. They have been used in many different religions and spiritual faith systems all around the world for many different spiritual purposes. They have been used for healing, they have been used for blessing, they have been used in marriage ceremonies, they have been used in when someone joins a particular congregation, during baptisms, consecrations. They're also used during funerals and during burials. So anointing oils are really useful tools for allowing us to have a symbol of the blessing and the light of God. That's really what the oil represents, is the blessing, the love, and the light of God flowing through the oil. And so I have a few of my anointing oils here, and I'm going to demonstrate how you can anoint yourself. So I have here Loved. So this anointing oil that I created, this one I created with the intention of receiving as well as giving more love. And so this works really well if you're doing anything related to forgiveness, anything related to letting go of your past. This is also really great if you have anything going on, anything that's weighing on your heart. If you're working with your chakras and the heart chakra, this is an excellent anointing oil for that. So I would take a few drops of this, and you can place it in the palm or you can place it on the tips of your fingers. I'm going to place a few drops on my fingertips like this, and then I'm going to place some actually on my chest. And while I'm placing anointing oil, I usually like to rub my hands together. That helps to pull in the energy. And then I also usually like to focus and think about what it is that I'm wanting to have happen now that this anointing oil is on me. So I'll usually do that also. I may also say a prayer. So you may want to say a prayer before or after you have put it on. You may want to speak some affirmations. Sometimes I also like to sing. So that's a wonderful thing to do. Or your mantras, sing it out loud. So sometimes I will always go towards an old staple, which is I am that I am. So I'll sing or I'll chant, I am that I am that I am. And I'll chant that over and over again. And then I may actually go ahead and state my prayer out loud, or which is the same as your intentions. And that is how you can use this oil. For anything else, you would just place it with the body part or the part of you that it corresponds to. Like, for example, grounded. I have an anointing oil. This one is grounded. So this is for reconnecting with the earth, and just as it says, being grounded. So when I'm feeling like I need to really get grounded, I like to take this and rub it on my feet, right? Because that is truly grounding. I like to put it on the soles of my feet, rub it on my feet, put some on my legs, right? And then I have for whole and balanced, this is my oil that is based on a very traditional recipe, which is that of frankincense and myrrh, which I'm going to show that in the next feature. But this one, I would place this just on my crown. I might also place it on my third eye or my temples, or I might even just rub some on my whole body, that particular oil. And so I just recommend that whatever may be going on, whatever it corresponds to, that's what you should use your anointing oil. Focus that on that particular part of the body. And you're going to, again, want to make sure you're clear in your intention. Focus the mind, and you can do that by closing your eyes, state the intention or your prayer out loud. And you can also see or visualize yourself being covered in light, being surrounded by light. I know I like to also visualize and see my angels around me protecting me. I also like to envision seeing my ancestors there, as well as all of the other guides and protectors that I have around me that are helping me, that are part of my spiritual team, making sure that I'm okay in this life. I like to also see them around me and myself being enveloped in light, warm light coming from the divine, from the Most High. And that is how you can use these anointing oils to bless yourself, as well as to power up your aura, which is also the full armor of God. That's what that is. When you put on the full armor of God, that is you powering up your aura, and your aura is the energy that surrounds the outside of you. And it's important because you need to strengthen your aura when dealing with people and just interacting with many different situations, the things that come up in life. It's important to make sure that you have that extra protection on you, and that is the purpose of what an anointing oil does. Now, you can also take your anointing oil and you can put it on your doors. So I like to put some on the door frames around my house. I like to do that after I have thoroughly cleansed the energy in my space. Typically, I like to do this once a month, around the beginning of the month, but you can do this whenever you feel you need to. It's all based on your intuition and, of course, your intention. So allow your intuition, allow yourself to be guided as to what is best, or when this is needed for you and for your space. So now let's take a look at how you can make your own anointing oil. The first thing that you will need is a carrier oil. Next, you will need to have your essential oils. And lastly, you'll need to have a container. So I have here olive oil, which is an excellent carrier oil. Some other oils that you can consider would be almond oil, grapeseed oil, jojoba oil, and coconut oil. Those are a few examples of some other oils that you can use. You may be able to find them in your local grocery store or a health store, but most of those oils that I mentioned are pretty common and are easy to find. If not in a physical store, you can easily find them online. So you will need your carrier oil to dilute your essential oils in. This is really, really important because essential oils are very, very powerful, very powerful. They essentially take the essence of that particular plant and they magnify it. And so you would never want to put an essential oil directly on the skin. It needs to always be diluted in a carrier oil before you use it. And I strongly recommend that less is more. So just keep that in mind. So I have here myrrh and frankincense. These are two of the most common, as well as two of the most old in terms of combinations that are used in an anointing oil. And they work well separately, but they work even better together. I actually have these two in my whole and balanced anointing oil, and my oil is based off of a very traditional recipe which incorporates frankincense and myrrh. Frankincense and myrrh has stood the test of time. It has been used for thousands of years, and for good reason. I also have my container here, which you'll need to have as you're making this. So you need to keep in mind measurements. 1 teaspoon and 1 drop of essential oil is essentially 1%. 2 drops of an essential oil is to a teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is 2%, and it continues. The safest measurement for young children and older adults is 1%. 2 to 3% is usually acceptable for older children, teenagers, and most adults. However, you should always consult with your treating medical provider and make sure that it is safe for you to use on yourself and on your family members. I strongly encourage you to make sure that you're checking with them before you use an essential oil. Also, it's really important that you do your research on the essential oils. Different essential oils have different properties. For example, citrus-based oils are phototoxic. So those oils will impact you if you are in the sun. So please make sure that you are using an SPF of 50 or greater if you are using oils that contain citrus. Or even better, don't apply it to the skin before going into the sun, or wait 6 to 8 hours before going into the sun if you have applied it. So that being said, I would say I would take however many teaspoons I want to fill this up. So make sure that you have an actual teaspoon. Pour your oil and keep track of how many teaspoons you have poured. So let's say I put 5 teaspoons. If I want to keep this as a safe dilution for most of the family to use, for example, I would only put 5 drops for the 5 teaspoons. Or I would go up to 10, which is 2%. And you want to make sure once you've dropped them in here, that this is shaken and stirred very, very, very well, so that the oils are not just sitting on top of the carrier oil, but that they actually get mixed in. And once you've done that, you have created an essential oil that is blended, but you'll still need to pray over and bless it to make this an anointing oil. So once you've reached the point where you have combined everything into your container or your glass jar, your bottle, at that point you will want to go ahead and pray over your mixture. Pray or state your intentions out loud. I also would recommend you can put your intentions on the bottle. You can actually write it on your container or your bottle or your prayer. If you don't have one in mind, you can look for some online as well, just to get some ideas. But that's what you would want to do. And then just make sure that you store this. It should be an airtight container. Make sure that it is not exposed to direct sunlight, and that you keep it in a cool, dry place. And for most oils that have been mixed, they will typically last you anywhere from 6 to 9 months minimum, upwards of a year to maybe a year and a half for most. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that some of the information provided on anointing oils, how to anoint yourself, and how to create your own blend at home were helpful. Again, if you'd like more information, you can watch my previous video. You can also check out my blog at www.mysacredroom.com. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.